over 10,000 facial assessments, meaning we helped over 10,000 people improve their physical looks by giving them advice. But there's a problem. When we spoke to them again in 1 or 2 years' time, only 40% were able to retain their improvements, and the rest of them went back to their old selves. And so we started to investigate. What's holding you back from improving? The failure rate that people have in making life-altering changes to their looks is similar to what you would expect to see for weight loss transformations. After all, losing excess body fat is by far the largest, the most valuable, and the cheapest way to 180-degree your physical looks. So let's start there. Our first stop is the New England Journal of Medicine, where the appetite-regulating hormones are blamed for the high relapse rates in dieting patients. When you drastically diet down, your body goes into a state of defense and releases appetite-increasing hormones to ensure that survival and reproduction will not be compromised. In theory, this should be a short defensive period while your body adjusts, and then the hormone should go back to normal. But Sumitran and colleagues suggest that maybe this appetite-increasing effect lasts for longer than it should, leading to dieting patients feeling irresistibly hungry. Sumitran was right, and in dieted patients after a year, they regained 30% of the weight that they had lost, but also had substantially higher ghrelin and GIP levels, the hunger hormones. The high relapse rate after non-surgical weight loss is due to your own body not wanting to change. Why People Fail to Recognize Their Own Incompetence by David Dunning, an American social psychologist. He suggests that the incompetent members of a skill group are double cursed. Not only do they put out mediocre work, but they also do not know what they do not know. In a previous video, we used the Dunning-Kruger effect to explain why, as humans, we all overestimate our attractiveness. The average person does not know that the environment influences your facial development. They do not know about the psychological or the biological imperatives that we have developed over thousands of generations to pick the absolute best partner for our offspring's success is more than just chance or coincidence. To the average person, physical attractiveness and beauty are some kind of esoteric idea floating around in space that are unique to only humans because we're God-given divine creatures. But it's not. Animals differentiate for beauty by their own biological standards, much of which are actually quite similar to humans. Babies innately recognize a beautiful face from one that is not, and across cultures we can agree on what is attractive and what isn't. This is our second hypothesis for why the average person doesn't improve. They are unaware that they should improve, that they can improve, or of the harms of staying mediocre in everything. When it comes to physical looks, there are very well documented disadvantages to being below average, but the common approach is to resort to being a victim. You may have heard the following: beauty is genetic, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, beauty is expensive, I don't have money for surgery, I don't have time, but all of these come from a lack of knowledge on the topic. Surgery is certainly not the only way to improve your looks, far from it. Genetics are not the primary determinant of your final aesthetic outcome. Modern research shows that environment and facial development are much larger indicators of whether you will even reach your genetic potential of physical attractiveness. And it doesn't have to cost you a cent. Watch these videos, read these articles, listen to these podcasts, all for free. But your face is a reflection of your lifestyle, and for many of you, you need a lifestyle change. We tend to make excuses when it comes to looks and beauty because we do not know what we do not know. If you go on Mario Adrian's channel, who is a male model, his entire branding revolves around eating carrots. He absolutely loves this stuff. Kendall Jenner's snacks consist of cucumbers, carrots, and dip. From experience, most models and generally beautiful people have a completely different lifestyle to the average person. In many cases, they engage in unhealthy activities, sure, to achieve unhealthy goals, but the difference is that they get results, and very few of them have a victim complex because their livelihood depends on reaching certain aesthetic goals. They have manicured skincare routines, both men and women. They groom their hair. For the men that are receding with their hairlines, they take finasteride and minoxidil.
It's like a finasteride
to prolong their hairline and their time in the industry. And most importantly, their attitudes towards food is very different. Most adopt a food is fuel mentality instead of food is pleasure, which is what the average person thinks. You see, obesity is an addiction problem.
But he's like an addict about food.
Even being overweight, which the large majority of Americans now are, is also an addiction problem. The addiction of food from poor education, cheap availability, and the normalization of this problem are all contributing factors. You see, all of these addictive pathologies that we follow have reward-seeking behavior in common. In the case of food, your brain releases dopamine, making you feel good about yourself, but it quickly dies down. TikTok rewards you with every scroll. Just one more video, you tell yourself, but the feelings are good. The content is overstimulating, and your willpower is dying. The reasons, as we found, for why most people fail to improve their looks is because they have little to no willpower, and this goes to the detriment of their lifestyle. We know what needs to be done, we know how to do it, but we don't do it because it's hard. If any of these habits describe you, or feeling like you lack willpower or motivation, before you invest a cent into improving your looks, whether by surgery, skincare, cosmetic lasers, anything, work on fixing your willpower and discipline first. There are plenty of channels that practice more mindful methods of not letting your desires control you.
Games when I was 15 where I played like 6 to 7 hours a day. I definitely had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and also with social media.
I would recommend a dopamine detox, which is quite effective. If your trigger is food, practice intermittent fasting. If it is social media, delete them except for one to communicate with. If it's video games, then limit entertainment to one game or a fixed period of time. And most importantly, stick to it. It is not worth it for you to invest time and money into improving your looks if you cannot even control your own mind. From our experience, you're either going to be unsatisfied, say from getting surgery, because aesthetics works much as a whole and you need to make many changes to achieve facial harmony. If it's weight loss, lack of discipline is going to see you ending back up at where you started. If you spend money on building a skincare routine, a lack of discipline is going to see that you never follow it. Work on fixing your habits first.